Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another video on the channel. Today, week one has just concluded. I just got done watching the Jets-Bills crazy ass game, and now I've decided that it is time to make my power rankings heading into week two. Again, I think I want to update the series every single Tuesday, so if you guys are enjoying the power rankings, please make sure to smash that subscribe button and comment down below what you think of my list. Wasting no more time, let's go ahead and get into number 32. And staying the same from last week is the Arizona Cardinals. They looked bad. Their defense was a little feisty, and that is for better and for worse. They almost killed Sam Howell on the sidelines, but their offense looked bad. Their defense looked bad when Sam Howell wasn't putting the ball in harm's way. And honestly, they looked pretty much exactly the way I expected them to. No change for the Arizona Cardinals at number 32. Next, moving down one spot is the Houston Texans. They did not look good at all. And a strength, or I guess what I thought was going to be a strength for Houston Texans, their offensive line wasn't great against Baltimore. It was a bit concerning. CJ Stroud was kind of running for his life. CJ Stroud, not that I expected him to, didn't really look good in his first game. The receivers, it was hard for them to create separation. And I think the Texans' defense definitely did look better. But as of right now, they're still one of the worst teams in the NFL. I'll put them at number 31. At number 30, moving down three spots, were the Carolina Panthers. They looked rough. They blew a lot of opportunities. They had some bad tackling, and the Falcons kind of took control of that game. Bryce Young, he kind of threw the same pick twice, which is to be expected for rookies. But unfortunately, right now, the Panthers are not a very good team. They are not a team that is going to, I think, make a lot of noise. Perhaps I thought they were a little bit better than they actually should have been. Again, I kind of mentioned this with the preseason thing. Maybe I overrated Ike Ekwonu a little bit. That's a possibility. Maybe I overrated the young stars on defense a little bit. They didn't look very good against the Falcons, but then again, they're a rebuilding team. So I'll put them at number 30. Number 29, this one is both personal and painful. It's the Bears. They looked just putrid against the Packers, moving down four spots, one of the biggest droppers. And I tend not to overreact to week one because some teams, and we'll talk about this later, some teams, maybe had a fluky week or things didn't break their way or whatever. The Bears just looked like shit all across the board. Justin Fields didn't look good. He threw a pick six, a really bad pick, honestly. The offensive line was terrible. The offensive game plan was terrible. DJ Moore was not involved at all. Chase Claypool looked like he didn't give two fucks about being on the field. The defense was getting shredded like some Parmesan cheese on an Italian pizza. It was bad. It was bad. This was supposed to be the year that the Bears could be toe-to-toe with the Packers. Aaron Rodgers is gone, and they shit the bed. The Packers were in cruise control the entire second half. The Bears just shit the bed, and it's honestly super, super disappointing. Next at number 28, I got the Commanders moving down four spots. The Commanders, to me, they did not look good at all against Arizona, and I don't know if they win that game if they're playing anybody but Arizona and Josh Dobbs. Sam Howell, he put the ball in harm's way a lot, and I understand that that is something that's going to happen with a young quarterback, but against Arizona, I don't know, man. That didn't look good. Their defense wasn't particularly strong either. I thought Emmanuel Forbes made some nice plays, but honestly, I was kind of worried. It was probably the biggest mover for a win this week. The Commanders did not impress me very much, so I moved them down four spots. At number 27, I got the Tennessee Titans moving down one spot from last week. Honestly, this game went pretty much exactly how I thought it would. It would be a low-scoring game. Ryan Tannehill was just absolutely crapping himself on the field. Threw some ugly picks. Threw some ugly picks. The Titans' offense looked really, really bad when it wasn't giving the ball to Derrick Henry and Tajay Spears. He had a couple nice runs. And their defense, their pass rush was actually really good. I did think that their pass rush was pretty good. They did give Derek Carr a tough time in his Saints debut, but that defense is not going to be able to make up for Ryan Tannehill and that offense. God forbid Derrick Henry goes down. This is probably one of the worst offenses in the NFL. So I had to move him down one spot, but I'm really not too surprised. At number 26, this is a team that disappointed me. The Denver Broncos. I had to move them down five spots from last week. You cannot lose at home to the Jimmy Garoppolo-led Raiders. You can't do it. You scored 3 points the entire second half. You let the Raiders come back and win that game. That is embarrassing. There was all this talk about Sean Payton and about how he is going to be so much better than Nathaniel Hackett, and I still think he will. But Sean Payton put a huge target on the Broncos' back from all the words he was talking, from all the shit he was talking, and then he goes out and does the exact same thing week 1. If you remember last year, they lost 17-16 against the Seahawks week 1. This is arguably a worse loss because I think the Raiders this year are a much worse team than the Seahawks were last year. Just an embarrassing loss. I had to move him down 5 spots. I thought Russ looked good to begin the game, and then I don't know if he just ran out of gas or if he burned down the kitchen. I don't know what happened. Moving up 4 spots is the team that beat the Broncos. The Las Vegas Raiders, they look like not bad. I think that receiving tandem is actually pretty good. Devontae Adams, Jacoby Myers, and Hunter Renfrow. Josh Jacobs is still a good running back. They have some guys. And if Jimmy Garoppolo could just like not fuck the game up, which is, it's Jimmy Garoppolo, but if he could just not fuck the game up, the Raiders will be in some ball games. They will. Their defense, again, on Sunday played better than I would have thought. Max Crosby was just thrown around Mike McGlinchey like a fucking ragdoll. Like, that was embarrassing. Perhaps I was too harsh on the Raiders, I will say. Another person I was probably too harsh on is the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, coming in at spot 24, moving up 5 spots in my power rankings. Baker Mayfield has been impressive. He was good in the preseason, but I kind of wrote it off, and we'll talk about another guy who was good in the preseason that wasn't good on Sunday. But Baker Mayfield, he looked good against the Vikings defense. Now, the Vikings defense is not very good, and the Buccaneers do have good receivers, so maybe you could say that was just a lucky matchup. But I thought Baker managed the offense well. I thought the defense made enough plays, and I thought, you beat a team that won 13 games last year. Like, that is nothing to scoff at. So, good for the Buccaneers. I moved them up 5 spots in my power rankings heading into week 2. At number 22, it's going to be the New England Patriots. They're going to stay the same. They didn't do enough for me to move them up, but they also didn't really do anything to make me move them down. I do think they got a little bit unlucky playing the Eagles in the rain. There were some, tip passes that didn't really go their way. I thought they held their own against the Eagles, actually, and they really had a chance to win that game towards the end, so maybe they would move up if they won. Weren't able to get it done in those final moments, but I kind of feel the same that way I do about the Patriots as I did last week. They are going to be a bad matchup for a lot of teams. Bill Belichick is going to coach a good defense. They're going to probably play pretty mistake-free football. Again, the weather, I think, caused some of that. But they're just not very talented, unfortunately. And I got a lot of that from last week as well. The Patriots at 22, nothing's really going to change. At number 21, I got the Minnesota Vikings moving down 4 spots. Now, I expected the Vikings to regress this year. I've been on record saying that I think they got really lucky last year. It was pretty fluky. And that this year they're going to fall back down to earth a little bit. I didn't expect that to happen so soon. I didn't expect them to lose to the Buccaneers in week 1. But here we are. They're moving down 4 spots. Their defense is bad. And if they are unable to win shootouts consistently, which they did some last year, this team is going to get a lot of losses on the year. So I am not excited for the Minnesota Vikings, and I moved them down 4 spots in my power rankings. Another team moving down in the power rankings at number 20, the New York Football Giants, moving down 4 spots. They got just bent over backwards by the Dallas Cowboys. I mean, that shit was embarrassing. 40-0. Daniel Jones was sacked about 38 times. The Cowboys' offense didn't even score as much as the defense, pretty much. Not really. But the defense scored 2 touchdowns, 3 picks, 2 fumbles, I think, 7 sacks. I had the Dallas Cowboys defense in one of my fantasy leagues, and they scored 38 points. That's really all you need to know. 40-0 at the home opener is embarrassing. Daniel Jones, I understand the weather was bad, so I'm going to give him a little slack. But Daniel Jones, I think, is not a very good quarterback. I don't think this offense is very talented, and they're relying a lot on Saquon Barkley to replicate what he was doing last year. So we'll see. But I had to move the Giants down 4 spots. You can't get 40 burgered at home, put up 0 points, and expect to not move down in the power rankings. At number 19, I had to move a team up 4 spots. That was the Green Bay Packers. They looked good against the Bears. Now, it's the Bears, and as I've just stated, they are bad. So how much of this was the matchup? How much of this is them actually being good? But Jordan Love looked like he could operate this offense. I mean, he looked in rhythm. He looked in sync. He was making throws. He knew where to go with the football. He added a little razzle-dazzle. Not too much. He added a little razzle-dazzle. And the Packers defense, they were making plays. So I really don't know what to think of the Packers. I'm going to need a few more weeks to really get it. But as of week 1, they looked pretty good. And Jordan Love looked like he could be the guy. Aaron Jones looked good. Romeo Dobbs, I think, had the best game of his career, so that's a plus. But yeah, had to move the Packers up 4 spots, even though I hate it. At number 18, I had to move the Saints up 1 spot. Kind of similar to what I said about the Titans. I kind of knew what I was going to get here, and nothing I saw in that game really excited me. The Saints defense was playing pretty good. They were making some plays. The offense looked boring, but if they can get a healthy Michael Thomas back, Rashid Shaheed looked good. Chris Olave is obviously really good. And in a few games, they're getting Alvin Kamara. Like, these guys could be a pretty competent offense and defense, and that is going to be pretty good. I don't love Derek Carr. He missed some throws on Sunday. He definitely did. But, they're an okay team overall. They're nothing crazy. They're nothing special, but they're okay. At number 17, this is probably the biggest riser in my power rankings. I had to put the Los Angeles Rams. They looked really good against Seattle. I moved them up 11 spots. I think perhaps I was a little too mean about the Rams. Matthew Stafford, the last time he was healthy, was a good quarterback in the NFL. And it sounds like last year, they were talking about on the Seahawks broadcast, it sounds like last year he just really was not healthy at all. Like, couldn't operate, couldn't move. And he looked healthy and he looked good. He was operating that offense very, very well. Sean McVay was scheming up just absolutely a coach masterclass. Seahawks defensive coordinator Clint Hurt was just beside himself, didn't know what to do with himself. Sean McVay was great, Matthew Stafford was great, and Aaron Donald was great. Now the problem is going forward, is Cooper Kupp going to be missed a lot? I think yes. Can Puka Nacua put up 100 yards every game? Probably not. Is Tutu Atwell a good number 2? Probably not. That offensive line isn't going to get to play the Seahawks D-line every single week, so I do worry about the Rams still going forward. But I think they have the ability. They have very good talent at some key spots. So that's what I say about the Rams. At number 16, the Atlanta Falcons had to move them up 2 spots to just about league average. They handled business against the Carolina Panthers. They did. They were, I don't want to say dominant, but they were pretty much in control of that game. Bijan Robinson, my goodness, he looked good. And Tyler Algier is still a nice changeup at running back. I do still think they need to get the ball to their position players more. Drake London and Kyle Pitts really were not. I know Drake London had 0 fantasy points. Really were not big parts of the offense as I think they should be. And I still do not like Desmond Ridder. I've seen him this year. I still don't like him. So they are limited, and I do think that their ceiling is a bit low. The defense made some plays, though. I will say that. I thought the defense looked better. So I'm going to put them right about league average. I think they could possibly win the South. I think it's between them and the Saints right now. They could possibly win the South, but we'll just have to see. At number 15, I had to keep the Pittsburgh Steelers at number 15. I did. It's hard for me because I don't want to move them down too much because there's a lot of teams in the NFL that would get utterly dominated by the 49ers. And I don't know if that's so much an indictment on the Steelers as a team or just how good the 49ers are. I'm going to lean more towards the 49ers just being that good. And so I'm going to keep the Steelers the same right now. Now, they put up another stinker in week 2. They're going to be dropping significantly. But I will give them a temporary mulligan for getting their shit rocked by the 49ers because I think that would be the fate of a lot of these teams. At number 14, I had to put the Los Angeles Chargers. Now, they did have to move down a spot for losing to the Dolphins. Their defense was getting shredded, and that, again, is such a concern for me because you're putting in so much money on this defense. Joey Bosa, Khalil Mack, Derwin James, J.C. Jackson was awful. I mean, he was just piss-poor tackling, bad coverage. He was bad, right? And so you're investing so much resources in that defense, and it isn't working. Not to mention, Brandon Staley is supposed to be a defensive coach. And the defense has let you guys down a lot of big spots, and it let you down against the Dolphins. Justin Herbert is obviously still really good, and I think that offense, there are some weaknesses to the Kellen Moore offense, and I think we saw that late in the game. The pass protection to end the game gave Herbert no chance to go win that game. I'm not going to crucify him for losing to a pretty good Dolphins team, but I am going to move him down 1 spot. Coming in at number 13, I had to move my Seattle Seahawks down 3 spots. In the first half, they looked like the Seahawks that I thought they were going to be. They were going down the field pretty well. They had a few bad drives on defense, but overall they made some good stops. And I don't know what happened at halftime. I don't know if it was hocus pocus. I don't know if it was some black magic by Sean McVay. The Seahawks crumbled. Literally and figuratively crumbled. Both of our tackles went out of the game with injury. Tyler Lockett left the game with injury. Geno Smith had no time to throw. The offense couldn't do anything. The defense couldn't stop. The The defense couldn't stop a car in an intersection. You know what I'm saying? Like, it was bad. And it was very gutting for me. It was very disheartening. And I, till this second, actually, I'm left wondering if that was a fluke against a well coached Sean McVay team or if the Seahawks are low key trash. I don't know. We'll see it against the Lions. I'm a little worried. At number 12, I had to go with the Buffalo Bills. I had to move them down 7 spots. The thing about the Bills is you cannot, and I mean you cannot, lose to Zach Wilson in prime time. Like, I can't get over that. I'm sorry. Josh Allen, the minute that and we'll get back to the Jets, the minute that Aaron Rodgers left that game with that, what is now known to be Achilles injury, the Bills should have been playing conservative offense. They should have gotten the lead. They should have kept it. They should have killed the clock, not done anything stupid. Instead, Josh Allen decided to turn the ball over 4 times. The Bills let up a punt return touchdown, and it took them, honestly, it's a miracle they even got into overtime because the Jets couldn't get a first down, and then the Bills got the ball back. Nice drive by Allen to get him into field goal situation, doinked it off the upright. The Bills had no business winning that game, and they didn't. It's how it should have went. And it's just kind of sad that you couldn't beat a Aaron Rodgers-less Jets team. So, had to knock you guys a little bit for that. Pretty disappointing. At number 11, I had to put the Baltimore Ravens. I'm moving them down 2 spots, and you might look at the score and be like, well, they beat the Texans pretty well. The game, to me, looked weird. Lamar seemed really out of sync, especially in that first half, and the Ravens' offense was just not, I think, what it needed to be. Again, I'm not crucifying them. I'm moving them down 2 spots because I think some teams had really good weeks. A little concerned about the offense. Again, if they're not playing the Texans this week, are we looking at an 0-1 Ravens team? I don't know. But I'm going to put them at number 11. And then entering the top 10, I have the Cleveland Browns moving up 4 spots. They put an ass beating on the Cincinnati Bengals. They really, really did. Now, could you attribute that to the weather? Possibly. Could you attribute that to the fact that Joe Burrow missed time with his calf injury, didn't have a preseason, all of that type of stuff? Yeah, but I would be remiss to not mention the fact that the Browns legitimately looked really good. Their defense was clamping. Jim Schwartz, I think, was an excellent addition as their defensive coordinator. That D-line looks ferocious. They have playmakers in the backfield. And Deshaun Watson didn't even really play good, but they have Nick Chubb, who is one of the best running backs in the NFL, average more than 5 yards per carry. So the Browns, as of right now, I think are a top 10 team. At number 9, and I will reevaluate this, I promise, at the moment is the New York Jets moving up 2 spots. Now, let's start with the good. The good is that they started off their year on 9/11, beating the Buffalo Bills in primetime. They forced 4 Josh Allen turnovers. Their special teams came up with a clutch return to win the game, and the Jets got a very, very close win against a really good team. That's the good. The bad is that Zach Wilson is now your quarterback 1 for the rest of the year. And Aaron Rodgers is probably going to miss the whole year. And honestly, that might be career ending. Torn Achilles at that age is pretty lethal, I'd say. So, you won the battle, but you lost the war, in my eyes. I put you at 9 because you deserve it for right now. The Jets deserve to be a top 10 team right now. But projecting this for the rest of the season, I don't see them staying in the top 10. Because now, without Aaron Rodgers, they are basically the team they were last year. They are 7-10, 8-9, written all over them. Again, that's if that defense continues to be dominant like it was last year and tonight all year. And I'm worried about the Jets, for this season. I'll be honest. But I will let you guys enjoy your one sweet moment of the year. Number 9 is where you guys belong right now. Number 8, Detroit Lions, moving up 4 spots in the ranking. When you beat the Chiefs in Arrowhead, you deserve to be moved up 4 spots. And that's exactly what the Lions did. They played pretty good. They didn't play great. They got lucky. But, Lions are a good football team. And, Dan Campbell's doing a good job with those boys. Ben Johnson's doing a good job. Jared Goff is managing this offense. And I think that they have a really, really good running back duo. Jahmyr Gibbs being the Lightning, David Montgomery being the Thunder. So, good for them. At number 7, I got to put the Cincinnati Bengals, moving down 4 spots. Now, I'm not going to crucify the Bengals because, like I said, Joe Burrow missed time with the calf injury, didn't play in the preseason, had a whole lot of other things, bad weather. I mean, it was really bad weather. So I'm not going to give them a total mulligan because, they got ass thrashed a little bit. I'm not going to lie. But I don't think that this is a reflection of the type of the team that the Bengals are. I think they'll bounce back. I think they'll start looking good. We'll see. Obviously, hopefully it doesn't continue. But for right now, the Bengals are still a top 7 team in the NFL. They just had a bad week. Number 6, I have to put the reigning Super Bowl champion Kansas City Chiefs. I know I just said they lost to Detroit, but it was by 1 point when they didn't have Chris Jones or Travis Kelce. If Kadarius Toney can learn to catch a football, I think the Chiefs win that game pretty easily. Their defense actually looked pretty good against the Lions, only allowed 14 points. I'm not too worried about the Chiefs, honestly. I really do think if they had Travis Kelce in that last game, they would have won. I'm not too worried. I don't think that we're going to be projecting a fall off for the Super Bowl champion. I think Mahomes and the Chiefs will be right back in the thick of it. They just got to get the ball rolling week 2 instead of week 1. At number 5, entering it to the top 5 teams in the NFL, the Miami Dolphins. They deserve to be a top 5 team. They're moving up 3 spots this week. Tua, my goodness, 466 yards, 3 touchdowns. Tyreek looks like the best receiver on planet Earth right now. Their offense is explosive. And at the end of the game, they were able to get pressure on Justin Herbert to prevent a game-winning drive. That, to me, is the recipe for success. If you can score a bunch of points and you can get after the other team's quarterback, you're going to win some ball games. And the Dolphins did that against the Chargers on Sunday. They beat a pretty good Chargers team. And honestly, I think they're a top 5 team right now. At number 4, no change from last week. It's going to be the Jacksonville Jaguars. They did what I thought they were going to do against the Colts. They won by a decent amount. The offense looked good. Calvin really looked really good. The defense was making plays. I was especially impressed with Tyson Campbell and Trayvon Walker. I thought they both had really good days for the Jaguars. Pretty much exactly what I thought about the Jaguars. I am keeping them at the number 4 spot. At number 3, I'm going to have to go with the Eagles, dropping them down 2. They really let the Patriots hang in that game longer than they should have. Jalen Hurts and the offense really looked stagnant a lot during the game. And, he did have that key fumble that really could have put the Patriots back into the game. They didn't look terrible. I understand it was raining, but they didn't look like the dominant Eagles team. I'm dropping them down 2. Now, that's not too disrespectful. They're still the 3rd best team, in my opinion. But, they didn't have a great Sunday. And then getting into my top 2 teams, if you watched football on all day Sunday, you probably could guess that these are the top 2 teams. Number 2, the Dallas Cowboys moving up 3 spots. That defense, holy shit, does it look good. Now, are they going to score 2 touchdowns, 7 sacks, 3 picks, 2 fumbles every single week? No. But they could. Like that defense is stacked top to bottom. Trayvon Diggs, Deron Bland, Stephon Gilmore, Michael Park, those pass rushers are insane. Dan Quinn has those boys firing on all cylinders. The offense, I think Tony Pollard is a dynamic weapon. He proved that with 2 touchdowns. Dak Prescott, I don't think we saw a whole lot of Dak Prescott just because of the rain and everything like that. Dak Prescott can be a good quarterback. CeeDee Lamb is a good wide receiver. He can get open, and I think Brandon Cooks is a nice complementary piece. The Cowboys, they look pretty damn good. And then number 1, moving up 5 spots on the list, is going to be the San Francisco 49ers. They just dominated the Steelers. They really did. 30-7 does not paint the picture of how insanely lopsided that game was. Brock Purdy looked great. Brandon Ayuk looked great. Christian McCaffrey looked great. Their offensive line, not so much. Their defensive line looked great. Their DBs looked great. The linebackers looked great. Top to bottom, this team looked fantastic against the Steelers. And to be completely honest with you, if Brock Purdy is that guy and can stay healthy, there is no reason why the 49ers could not find themselves in the Super Bowl. So this is my power rankings for this week. I just thought I'd share them with you guys. Get a little video out for you on a Tuesday morning. But you guys let me know what you think in the comments down below. Don't forget to subscribe, and I'll talk to you guys tomorrow. Peace out.